New home construction always starts with a bare site, and we are out here in the country and we have all the room in the world to place this house. So the things you want to keep in mind when placing the house: distance from the road, configuration of the driveway, and of course we have to set the foundation at the proper height to get the water running away from it. So what we do is we mark out the house corners with orange flags for the excavator, and I set a wood stake in the ground to set the top of the foundation height. Those two things is all we need to start digging. Well, we've been working all winter long, and we got a lot done in the last few months. The house is all framed up. We've got electrical, plumbing, and heating and cooling rough ends done, and the insulation is almost complete. Excavation is the beginning of every new home project, and it's always very exciting when you got the basement dug and piles of dirt all over the site, and that means we're getting ready to make something happen. Then we come in and put the foundation in. I prefer a poured concrete foundation. When I do my foundation walls, I like to have lots of steel reinforcement, vertical and horizontal. A lot of people don't do that. I do that because that foundation needs to be there for 100 years plus without any trouble. After the foundation is poured, now we come into the basement and we have to start thinking about our finished layout. We need to know where our plumbing goes. We need to know where our electrical is coming into the house, where the septic is going out, where our sump pit is going to be. All these things, we have to dig them into the ground before we put the rock in the basement. Also integral to this stage of the project is making sure that we have proper drainage around the outside of our foundation and under the basement floor. To achieve that, we install 4-inch perforated drainage tile. And what it does, it allows that groundwater that's around the foundation and underneath the floor, it gives it an easy path. It gets in the holes of the tile and it drains to our sump pit where we can pump it out so we don't have a wet basement. After our drainage is complete, I like to put washed river rock underneath the basement floor, and it's for the same reason. Dirt will hold water, rock will let the water pass through and get to our drainage tiles. So anything we can do to keep that moisture away from our finished floor surface in the basement is something I like to do. After the rock is installed and our drainage is complete, then we get our basement floor poured. And once that is done, we are ready to frame. Once the framing starts, that's when everybody gets really excited because things happen fast. You get your basement walls framed, then your main floor system. This is a ranch home, so we don't have a second story. So once our main floor walls are framed, we're working on the roof trusses and things really start to look like a house. Once our framing is done, we get the shingles on the roof, the windows installed, Tyvek house wrap on the whole house. Now we're dry and we're ready to start on the interior work. This is the most critical stage of the project because it is, first of all, it's the bones of the house. All the structural elements that make a house last a long time are dealt with right now. But we also have to get into the fine details. We have to be thinking about where every switch goes, what type of light fixtures are going up, where they are, cabinet layouts, etc. Although it looks rough at this stage of the project, a quality finished product's groundwork starts right here. There's a lot of talk about green building and energy efficient construction these days, and that's important. But so many times the focus is on just the product selection. No matter what product you choose, no matter how good it is, it will not perform adequately if it's not installed well. It starts all the way down at framing details. Good quality, tight framing helps keep air out of the house. Once the framing is done, we come in and the product selection for insulation is key. This is Icynene brand spray foam insulation. It's a urethane-based product. They spray it in as a hot liquid, it expands, and then they shave it off at the face of the studs. Properly installed, this product makes a house as tight as it possibly can be. Next week we'll be hanging and finishing drywall, and the house will look completely different. drywall marks the end of all of the rough phase and gets us right into the finished phase. And that gets to be fun because we set cabinets, flooring, tile, we start working into all these details that we've been talking about for months. So this week the wood floors are getting installed, the doors are getting set, and the trim is getting started. Next week, this is our kitchen and the cabinets are going to be installed, so there's big changes to come in the next 2 weeks. Nothing makes a house start to come together more than getting all of the finished carpentry complete. Carpenters have been working in here for about a month, and we've got doors hung, all the trim on windows and doors, baseboard installed, cabinets are in place, and we've constructed all of our built-ins and have them installed. So things are really starting to come together. A major decision in every project is what wood species we use to trim everything out. This home actually has alder, but they wanted a real rustic look, so we went with a knotty alder. With this real rustic looking wood, we didn't think just a narrow off-the-shelf trim was going to do the job in this house. So what we've got here is just solid lumber. It's a 1x4 with a back band piece on it, and then the baseboard is 1x6. And it just gives a lot of wood to the house without a lot of detail, which is the look we're going for. We constructed these built-ins in my shop per the owner just showed us some photos. We talked about it a little bit, drew some diagrams on the walls, got the scale just right, and this is what we've come up with. We decided to go floor to ceiling, the chimney, and we'll install this man-made stone product on everything. And we think it's really going to work nice with the wood floors and the cabinets on the other side of the room. No matter how good you install all this wood, a painter can make it or break it. So there's critical steps involved. First is they stain the woodwork. Second, they'll come through and spray a sealer on it, sand the sealer, and then they'll fill all the nail holes. And then finally they'll come through with 2 coats of a pre-catalyzed lacquer finish, good heavy coats, and that gives it that really durable finish that looks beautiful too. So for the next 2 weeks, on the inside of the house, it's going to be all painters. On the outside, if the weather agrees, we'll be pouring concrete, getting some grading done, and start bringing those details to a close. Well, the mechanical room is not the most beautiful place in a home, but it's arguably the most important. I like to organize things really well so everything you need is in one place. We've got the electric service panel down here, all of our water shutoffs. We run our water system on a manifold, so every fixture has its own shutoff down here. We run our gas lines in a manifold too, so there's not shutoffs hidden all over the basement or anything like that. It's all right here where you need it. We've gone to the on-demand tankless water heaters. It's very energy efficient. You only heat water when you use water. It's not sitting there heating a tank of water all day when you're not home. Also really important when you build a home tightly, like we do, is an air exchanger. This is called a heat recovery ventilator. You don't actually see these in a lot of homes, but every home that is built energy efficiently needs one. What this does, it makes sure that our indoor air quality stays healthy, and it also helps us manage our humidity in the wintertime so our windows don't sweat and we don't have mold and mildew problems. In the last several weeks of the project, lots of details come together. Our appliances come in, countertops, finish up the tile, finish the floors, put down the carpet, bring in the cleaners, and everything gets to be this beautiful finished product that's ready for the owners. Well, it's moving day. All the work is done and this family is ready to move in today and enjoy their new custom home. It's been a long process. It starts with months of planning and specification and selection, and months of construction work gets us to this point. The kitchen is always a huge part of every home, and this home is no exception. We've got a big kitchen with a really nice sized island, all granite countertops. This is a big kitchen, but it's actually very functional and very practical. We don't have big commercial appliances or anything like that. Standard residential things, but it's laid out in a way that there's plenty of room to do whatever the owner needs to do, and lots of room for seating too. We've got beautiful wood floors throughout the main floor of this home. Typically when we see oak, it's red oak. This is a different species. This is actually white oak. It's a little harder than red, and it's quarter sawn, so it gives it a lot more character. This is actually a real unique finish too. It's a burnished finish. So instead of this real slick glossy surface laying on top, the finish is actually pushed into the wood, which makes it more durable. When we build a pantry, I like to have this hardwood shelving instead of the wire shelving. It matches all the woodwork in the house. It stands up to tremendous weight, so these shelves can be full of anything you want and they will not bow. They'll last a lifetime. In this home, we've got a really nice functional mudroom that actually is a beautiful space. We've got paneling on the walls, all coated with epoxy paint for durability. We've got lockers for the kids, we've got a built-in closet, just all kinds of room to come in from the garage, hang the coats, stash the shoes, have room to set things, and not be all jumbled up right when you get into your house. We are in the bonus room. This is the space above the garage. We've modified the roof trusses to create a living space. This is a great way to get cost-effective space. In this case, the owners chose to have an office and a spare bedroom. This home has a beautiful view out of their walkout basement. It's such nice space that we decided to finish all of it. I recommend when you build a new home to finish as much of the basement as possible at that time, because it'll never be less expensive than at the time we're building the whole house. This basement has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, recreation room, and a great bar area. This is going to be a place where the kids can hang out, where they're watching TV. A lot of living is going to go on in this space. These owners have a great walk-in tiled shower in their master bathroom. We've got the rain head coming out of the ceiling, regular shower head on the wall, and a couple of massage jets. It's big, lots of room, and it's big enough that they don't need a shower door. We're almost done with the exterior of this home. All we're waiting for is cool fall weather for the final seating and landscaping. It's the curb appeal, the outside look of the house that often drives the design from the beginning, and this home was no exception. The owners came to me with a photo they found, and they just loved the looks of this home, and so we built the whole plan from there right from the start. What's so appealing about the front of this home is the variety of products and textures that add interest. We've got our stone column bases, but then on top we've got painted columns. We've got a cement board shingle siding. It's just like our lap siding, the same product, but just the old shingled look. We've got trim around all of our doors and windows with a contrasting color, and a beautiful fiberglass door that's stained to look like wood. A lot of things going on that give it that rustic look that they were really interested in. On this home, for our lap siding, we used HardiePlank brand cement fiber material, so it's very durable, holds up well over the years, takes paint beautifully. Our corner boards and our trim boards are a different product. They're Miratech brand. It's a composite material, a little bit different than the cement board, but still very durable and takes paint quite well. A small workmanship detail that makes a big difference on the looks of any home is the quality of the caulking job. A nice clean bead between the siding and the trim really gives a real neat look to the front of the house. Plus we've got a crisp line where the trim color meets the body color, so everything looks as good as possible. We've got a beautiful country site, and these owners wanted a nice deck from which they could enjoy their surroundings. So they chose a composite material rather than wood. This is Trex brand. Been using it for a long time. It performs very well. It doesn't need to be stained. It doesn't rot. It's a really good low maintenance product. Planning and building a house is a big process, but it starts with me sitting down with the owners and just talking to them about what they want in a home. Start planning the spaces, figuring out the size you need, and then most of the details come from pictures. If you see a picture online or a picture in a magazine or in another home you've been in, and we take those and I figure out exactly the details that they're looking for, and we incorporate them both into the outside of the house and the inside to make it exactly what they want. My customers hire me because I work with them closely, I communicate well, and they trust that I will make sure that
every detail meets their expectations.